Hey folks, so, yeah, today I've got this box from my reasonably local game shop. I mean, they're only an hour's train journey away, so semi-local. And I'm going to do this so I can actually see the chat, see when some of you turn up. There we go. But yeah, we have today 3 starter decks. We've got Gaia Red, Coquitus Blue, and Heaven's Yellow. Each of these apparently comes with a booster pack, so there'll be some random cards in there as well. And we've got this random promo pack. So, let's get to it, shall we? Does it tell me how many people are watching? It doesn't tell me how many people are watching because maybe it doesn't realise that it's me watching me here. Oh yeah, no, it tells me that one person's watching me, who is me. Okay. Well, maybe I'll wait a moment before opening any of these then. Because otherwise, what are you even going to see? And we can see the key. Oh, you're watching it, you. Nice to see you, Joe. Joel, I guess. Surprise. Oh, yeah, now it's hit the 2 viewer count, so I'm viewing and you're viewing and everything is great. Okay. So anyway, as you can see from the covers of these, well, you can see the key card and character in each of them. We've got, Metal Garurumon for the blue deck with Matt. We've got War Greymon and Tai for the red. And for some reason, Heaven's Yellow has Angemon and not Seraphimon. But it does still have TK. Not sure why they didn't choose to put the Mega on the box for that one, but it's just one of a few interesting choices here. Because all these decks are named after one of the key moves from the Digimon in the show. So, Gaia Red is named after Gaia Force, which in English is known as Terra Force, basically meaning the same thing, but I guess the English translation team didn't want them mentioning the old gods. Yeah, Angemon is definitely more iconic for TK, but it still seems strange that they didn't at least give him Seraphimon, who's his highest Digivolution in the show at the time. Or at least as far as I remember. Anyway, then we've got Coquistus Blue. I'm saying it wrong. Coquistus Blue. Named for Coquistus Breath, which is one of the major moves of Metal Garurumon. Sorry, I don't know why I've been horses like this and forgetting nouns, but yeah, one of the key moves of Metal Garurumon, and in English it's known as Ice Wolfclaw. So, completely different name. Unlike Gaia Force, which barely changed. And yeah, for this one, the move is probably Heaven's Gate, which I think is the move of Magna Angemon. Though I could be wrong, it could be Seraphimon's move. Regardless, that's where the names come from, and it's just interesting that they're using the Japanese names and not translating the deck names at all. But let's start with the red one, because it's the main character. See what we got here, shall we? I should have brought scissors. I'd forgotten that unboxing involved cutting tape and actually getting into things. Again, though, surprising that it's not the Mega, but I guess we haven't seen a lot of Angemon's Mega in the show. So that's probably why they chose to go with Magna Angemon's move. So here is the release special booster version 1, which I believe is separate from the version 0 that you could get in booster boxes. So I don't know what's going to be in this, but apparently there are 187 different cards and there's 12 in this booster pack. So if it is different to the general release booster boxes, then that's going to mean you're going to have to buy a lot of starter decks to get all of them. No, this one is the same as the booster set, okay. I'll believe you, you got the booster box and I didn't, so I wouldn't know. But getting into the decks, quite thin cards, but they have a nice glossy feel to them. They're not bad card stock, they're just surprisingly thin. And yeah, we start out with one of my personal favourites, Coromon, which is a name I use in various different locations across the internet, but not here. Here I am totally not named Dan because, well, Dan isn't my name. Real simple. Anyway, this Coromon is a level 2, so it's one of the baby Digimon from your breeding zone / egg zone. So you can see the little Digitamer on the back. And yeah, Coromon's special effect is, well, he has it's an inherited skill. When the Digimon that's Digivolved from him has 4 or more Digivolution cards... Oh, I'm holding this in a way that covers the text, sorry. It gets plus 1000 DP, which is both attack and defense, basically. Although in this case, it's only really attack because it's during your turn exclusively. So, not a massively significant ability, but very few of the Digitamers have a massively significant ability. And it basically means that when you Digivolve him all the way into Wargreymon, Wargreymon gets a fair bit stronger. Then we've got 4 copies of Biomon, and you can see the slightly different card back where, yeah, it's kind of an egg, but it's kind of just data in a sphere. That's the card back for level 3 and above, and also all the option cards and tamer cards and everything. So Biomon has no inherited effect. A play cost of 2, which is relatively cheap. A DP of 3000, which is fairly average for a rookie, to be honest. And yeah, Digivolve cost of 0 from a level 2. Specifically a red level 2, but all the cards in this deck are red, so that doesn't really matter for this. Only comes into play once you start mixing the decks. So yeah, that's Biomon. Doesn't do a massive amount, but does something at least. Well, it's essentially a free Digivolution for your Egg Digimon. Okay, apparently there's different art in the starter deck boosters compared to the booster box boosters, but they are the same cards. Right. Thanks, Joel. So yeah, next up we have Agumon, who is the one who canonically Digivolves from Coromon, but, you know, Digivolution paths are a bit more varied outside of the show. So this one costs 1 more to play at 3, but is just the same cost to Digivolve of nothing. Its DP is 1k less at 2k rather than 3k. But more importantly, it has an inherited skill of during your turn, the Digimon Digivolved from it gets plus 1000 DP. So basically Coromon's skill, but you don't have to go all the way to Wargreymon to get it. So ideally you want to be Digivolving through Agumon, not through Biomon, just because you get better skills that way. But if you're just going to play one straight down and use it as is, Biomon is slightly better. Both are very weak though, because they're just rookies, so they will die to most things. And then the last rookie of the bunch, we have Dracomon, who's one of my favourites, just because he's, well, he's a cute, stubborn, courageous dragon Digimon. And who doesn't love that? No inherited effect, play cost of 3 like Agumon, and a DP of 4,000. So this is in fact the best rookie to play straight down, but when it comes to Digivolving, they all cost the same 0 at rookie level, and the inherited effect is what's going to matter if you're Digivolving further. Because the DP will be replaced by the DP of the Digimon you Digivolve into. Like this one, for example. This one is a level 4, this one is level 4, Digivolves from a level 3 red, 2 Digivolution cost, so actually costs something this time, play cost of 4, and 5,000 DP. So slightly more powerful than Dracomon, though not by a vast amount, and doesn't have any inherited effect or anything, but does get you a little further down your Digivolution line. Then we've got Cordramon, who is Dracomon's Digivolution canonically. And yeah, he's a level 4 as well, costs 5 to play, but again costs only 2 to Digivolve into. 6k DP, which isn't bad at all. And has Blocker, which is you can suspend it to change the target of your opponent's attack to this Digimon. Obviously it has to be unsuspended to be able to use that, but there you go. And when attacking with this though, you lose 2 memory, so it's a pretty bad attacker, one you use as a last resort if you need to get damage in. Otherwise, it's there mostly to just stop your opponent dealing you lethal damage. Or maybe to save some of your opponents. No, sorry, save some of your other Digimon. Like, say, if you've got a Greymon out and you want to save him for when he's Digivolved further. So this Greymon we only have 2 copies of. It's the first card we only have 2 copies of. Which is kind of sad, because he's one of the best cards in the deck as far as I'm concerned. This one has, again, a 5 cost, 2 Digivolution cost. But this time only 4,000 DP. 4k DP. So not nearly as strong as Cordramon. But he comes with the inherited effect of Security Attack +1, which basically means when he deals damage to your opponent, well, when his Digivolution deals damage to your opponent, it deals an extra damage. And yeah, that's incredibly powerful, because it's essentially doubling the damage he does. So it makes Metal Greymon, Garudamon, and the like so much more powerful than they otherwise would be. But it doesn't do Greymon himself any good. So yeah, our next ultimate level is Garudamon. Sorry, no, our first ultimate level. Sorry. Oh, hey Solderpop, how's it going? Yeah, our first ultimate is Garudamon, whose play cost is 6, Digivolve cost of 3, so as we're getting into ultimates, Digivolve costs are getting a tiny bit higher. 7k DP, which is pretty good. It's going to survive most attacks. And when Digivolving into this, one of your Digimon gets 3k DP for the turn, which can even be this Digimon, putting it up to 10k temporarily. But no inherited effect on this one, so it's more about using as is than it is about Digivolving further, but it does still get you further down the line if you need it to. And we've got 4 copies of that, unlike Greymon. Uh, that's mean sold, but by the sounds of it, it was justified. Then we got Metal Greymon, who isn't foil, but is, well, metallic embossed around the frame, around the art frame and the Digivolve cost and everything. And that does look pretty sweet, that gold foiliness. Kind of thing that I find they do more in Yu-Gi-Oh! Than in any of the card games I actually play, but it is a nice touch. Play cost of 7 on this one, so a bit more expensive than Garudamon. And Digivolve cost of 3 again. 7k DP again, but for your extra 1 play cost, which chances are you won't be paying anyway because you'll be Digivolving into him, he gets the inherited effect, so for everything that's Digivolved from him, if it's blocked during its turn, you gain 3 memory, which is the thing you pay for things with, your resource. And we got 4 copies of him, all equally nice and shiny embossed, even if they're not actually metallic themselves, even if they're not actually foil cards. And this one we got 2 copies of, and the art extends out of the frame, which is a cool look, but hides the fact that these are also embossed because most of the frame is hidden. So I feel like they could have gone with one or the other. That doesn't work quite as well as it could, in my opinion. Now, if they actually embossed the art and gave Phoenixmon, or Hoomon as I like to call them because that's the Japanese name and it's a better name. Sorry, that's it. Ooh. Oh, what? You were supposed to be guaranteed. Oh. Shame about the blue eyes, but nice that you got a good price on the set at least. Display case. But yeah, as I was saying, Ho-Oh is mythical creature from Japanese and Chinese mythology. The Phoenix is slightly more of a generic mythological creature, and personally I think Phoenixmon as a name better describes the appearance of Verdramon than it does Hoomon. So it seems a bit weird to me that they put the Phoenixmon name on Hoomon, but you know, the translation was done ages ago. Can't really go back on it now unless we're starting to deal with things like Casistus Breath, the names of the decks. Anyway, Phoenixmon, as you can see, has no effects, play cost of 10, which is quite massive, and a Digivolve cost of 2, which is actually less than the Ultimates. But this is a Mega. This has 12k DP, which makes it one of the most powerful cards in the deck, stats-wise, even if it doesn't do anything beyond that. And, you know, it will have effects from whatever it's Digivolved from, so it won't be a vanilla creature still. But our other Mega is rather more impressive. 2 copies of this one, and this one actually is fully foil. It doesn't have the gold embossing, which is interesting, so I would have thought they'd have kept that. But that is a nice shiny card. And this one doesn't have any inherited effects because very little Digivolves from Wargreymon at level 6. Just, there are like 2 cards in the game that Digivolve from level 6. Its Digivolution cost is 4, so more than you're paying for some rookies to play them outright. Maybe even some of the champions. Play cost is 12, which means you can't just straight up play it most of the time. Oh, hey Muse, how's it going? 5 times back what you spend, that sounds great, so glad you got some good cards in there. Right, yeah, 12 cost means you can't just play it outright, because you can never put your opponent to more than 10 memory, but if your opponent's given you at least 2 memory to work with, then you can play this. So, yeah, there's a bit more restriction on when you can play this card. 12k DP again, which seems to be roughly standard for Megas, but I mean, it's powerful. Megas are top level pretty much, so yeah. And this one has the ability on itself, not on things that are digivolved from it. For every 2 Digivolution cards that it has, so things that it's digivolved from, it gets security attack +1. So basically, the damage this deals to your opponent will, at full Digivolution, with the full Digivolution line, so going all the way from Coromon up to this, you'll have 4 things that it's digivolved from. So it will get +2 security attack, meaning it will do at least 3 damage to your opponent, 4 if you've got Greymon there. Your opponent only has 5 security cards at the start of the game. So this will just straight up wipe out their defenses in 1 or 2 attacks. And then any attack after that will finish them off. So, yeah, that's a game ender. And everywhere else I've seen this character listed, he's listed as a Dragon Man Digimon. But if you read, I don't know how well you can see the corner there, but right there it lists him as Dragonkin, which is interestingly modern terminology. Shame he's not Dragonborn in Skyrim, though. Oh, I'm doing well, thank you, Muse. Sorry I didn't get to that right away. I did get a bit caught up in the cards. Yeah. Yeah, Ash Blossom is pretty sweet card. I like the I like the sound of that, him trying to rip you off and actually giving you something better. So next up we have 4 copies of our red Tamer card, which is Tai. Costs only 2 memory to play, so he's quite cheap. Doesn't digivolve from anything because he's a Tamer. And I don't know how well you can see it, but he has the same gold emboss. Oh, sweet, $40 card. Nice one, Sol. But yeah, this one's also gold embossed, and you can see it's also embossed on the security effect logo. Now, the security effect of this card is basically, if you take damage and the card you flip over is this one, you just get to straight up play this for free. Which is kind of sweet. And yeah, this one just gives all your Digimon, red or otherwise, plus 1k DP during your turn. It's not a massive attack bonus, but you know, you stack 4 of these, that's going to be more than the difference between a level. You stack 4 of these and a good ultimate's going to take down a Mega. And yeah, at only 2k cost, it's not difficult to play. There's no restrictions on what deck you can play that in, because it doesn't digivolve from or into anything. So it's just a nice card to have, really. Whereas Shadow Wing has really sweet art of Garudamon firing a flaming phoenix from its chest, but doesn't really do that much. It gives one of your Digimon plus 3k for a turn, so like Tai's effect, if you stack 4 ties, 3 or 4 ties, it's going to be, yeah, what am I saying? It's going to be the difference between one Digivolution stage, and it only costs 1, so it's not bad. And it's not like you're losing a lot of card advantage because you have so much card advantage. You always have so many cards in your hand in this game that card advantage doesn't matter that much. But just as a card you can play, it still doesn't do that much. It's a one-shot effect. It's not a crazy damage bonus. But its security effect is quite nice. All your Digimon get plus 1 security attack, or basically plus 1 damage to your opponent if they damage your opponent, for your next turn. Which, you know, great for your retaliation swing, not so great if you have to stay on the defense though. So yeah, personally, I don't think that card's worth much. And it's a common, so it's not going to be worth much on the secondary market either. Starlight Explosion, on the other hand, which we also have 4 copies of, is a straight up 7k bonus, which is ridiculous. I mean, that's the strength of some of the ultimates. Just straight up added on to whatever. But the difference here is, A, this one costs 2, and B, this doesn't improve your attack, this only improves the DP of your security Digimon, which is any Digimon you flip over in response to, well, when you take damage from your opponent's attack. So if your opponent attacks you, you flip over a Digimon, that Digimon gets plus 7k, makes it a lot more likely to destroy the Digimon they're attacking with, but you still take the damage. So, yeah, your opponent's going to lose their Digimon, but it's not going to stop them attacking you if they're going to kill you anyway. So it's an alright card, but it's not as good as the size of the bonus makes it sound. Then we've got Giga Destroyer, which we've only got 2 of. Metal Greymon's attack. This is a straight up 6 cost, so it's going to cost you a lot to play down. Your opponent's going to have a lot of memory to retaliate with. But you get rid of up to 2 of your opponent's Digimon with 4k or less. So great in the early game if your opponent's playing out their rookies for some reason. But if your opponent's putting their rookies in the raising zone where you can't touch them and they're only bringing them out at champion or ultimate level, then this is going to do absolutely nothing. And its security effect is just the same thing. So, in the right situation, seems very powerful, but in most situations, probably not good. Unlike Gaia Force, which I'm surprised isn't called Terra Force in the English, but it isn't. And Gaia Force it costs 2 more, and for that 2 more cost, you get to delete any one of your opponent's Digimon. And the security effect, likewise, is just activate the main effect. So anytime your opponent plays down their Mega, you just say no, you give them a whole load of memory to retaliate with, but you don't give them an entire Mega's worth, so it's a net very positive effect still. So yeah, that's the red deck, that's my thoughts on some of the cards. Let's get into blue next, I think. If I can. Do I have a knife in here? This crappy Naruto fidget spinner will have to do. Oh, come on, does this thing not even work as a letter opener? That's pathetic. Haha, here we go, craft knife. This is actually quite sturdy tape. I'm surprised. So these 2 booster packs that I've got now look completely different. Yeah, I have some magic cards. I'm not opening any today. I don't have any current sets. Yeah, I do still have most of a box of Oath of Gatewatch. But won't be opening that right now. And who knows, Digimon might take off. This might end up being a really valuable set. It just isn't at the moment. Yeah, I could go through my old Magic the Gathering cards sometime. Again, not right now, though. Oh, you might be interested in this though, Solder Pop, while we're talking Magic. I have 2 copies of Magic's one and only secret rare. Card number 141 from the 140 Unhinged set. Does not officially exist. Only ever printed in foil. That's not how Magic the Gathering normally works, but it's what they did for Unhinged. So if you're interested, this is a 3-mana artifact, which, only comes in foil. Says all your premium spells, which is all your foil spells, cost 1 less to play, and creatures that are premium get +1/+1. So yeah, if you have a fully foiled deck, it just buffs the whole thing. Yeah, I'm surprised how much the prices of the unsets have skyrocketed. Because, I mean, the cards aren't worth anything competitively. Yet they appear to be collector's items. So I might have to see if I have more than 4 of anything, see if I can get some money for that. But I'm keeping everything I have 4 or less of. Anyway, getting back to the Digimon. The in-training for the blue deck is Tsunomon, who canonically becomes Gabumon. And his inherited effect is, during your turn, the Digimon that's Digivolved from him gets 1k DP when battling an opposing Digimon that hasn't Digivolved from anything. You say that, Solder Pop, but I don't think that's quite true. Give me a second. So, you see this? This is a box of reprinted uncards. The lands aren't quite the same as in other unsets, but, I mean, they're still full art and half of them are foily. Then you got tokens and stuff. I should probably go through the tokens if I'm unboxing this. So we've got blue 1/1 Beeble, which on the back is gold 4/4 dragon, because yes, gold is a colour in Un. Dragon has flying, by the way. Then we've got pink giant teddy bear, because again, pink is a colour in the unsets. And then we've got an acorn stash counter, because why not? Three additional Beebles, which are all 1/1 squirrels on the back. Green squirrels, for that matter. 2 additional beebles that are dragons. Oh, another beeble squirrel. And then 2 goblins, which are 1/1 and red. And they're giant pink teddy bears. So yeah, that's the tokens from that. Then we've got at the very front of the white deck, we've got reprints of Staying Power. And you can tell it's a reprint because the original unhinged printing did not have that foil marker at the bottom. Don't know if you know what Staying Power does, but I'm not going to read through all of these just because, well, I did come here to do Digimon. Then we got Look at Me, I'm R&D, which, is this an uncommon? Or is this a rare? Yeah, this is a rare white enchantment, but it doesn't have the foil thing, presumably because it's pretending to be a playtest card. Planes, planes, planes. New card, Circadian the Night Owl. Yeah, you got me way off track. Yeah, he has Night Lifelink, which means all of your knights have lifelink, essentially. And then for 1 white, he gains Vigilance until end of turn, but you can only use that from sunrise to sunset. And for 1 black, he gains Flying, which you can only activate from sunset to sunrise. Then we've got Humming, which is half a card. Well, it's a full card, but it's half a creature. So it turns whatever it augments into a bird for 3 and a white mana. It has Flying, and whenever you attack with 2 or more creatures, the augmented creature's ability activates. Oh, and it gives it +2/+3. Then we got a reprint of Night of the Hokey Pokey. New card Flavor Judge, which for 1 and white mana is a 2/2. Doesn't have Flying, because obviously chickens can't fly. Don't be silly. Never mind the fact that nearly every other chicken has Flying, from what I recall. It's a bird advisor, it's a rare, and it has tap, choose target spell or ability that targets a permanent you control. Then ask a person outside the game if the story of what would happen from that spell or ability makes sense. If they say no, you sacrifice Flavor Judge and you counter that spell or ability. Then we've got Sword of Dungeons and Dragons, riffing off that whole Sword of Fire and Ice, Sword of Life and Death, etc., etc. series, which is a mythic rare with equipped creature gets +2/+2 and protection from rogues and from clerics. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you create a 4/4 gold dragon creature token with Flying and roll a d20, so 20-sided dice. On a 20, you repeat it. And this costs 3, you can equip it for 2. Reprint of AWOL in the new frame. Likewise for Paper Tiger. Back when Paper Tiger was printed, though, it had the old artifact borders, so this one looks very different to the original brown version. Reprint of Old Guard from Unstable. Whole bunch of planes. Reprint of Adorable Kitten, who can host the Humming. Planes, planes. Underdome, a land that can tap for either 1 colourless or 1 mana of any colour as long as it's spent on a silver bordered permanent. Sorry, any silver bordered cost including the abilities of silver-bordered permanents or silver-bordered spells, etc., etc. Reprint of Look at Me, I'm the DCI. A seasonally appropriate Strutting Turkey, which is 3 and a white mana. When it enters the battlefield, its ability triggers, and its ability is exile target creature card with a converted mana cost of 2 or less from your graveyard. If it has Augment, combine it with a host you control, otherwise put it onto the battlefield, and it's a 2/2. And yeah, the way Augment works though, the half with Augment, if I find that humming real quick. You'll see this has no mana cost. So its converted mana cost is 0, which means Strutting Turkey can target all creatures with Augment, and then just put them straight onto itself if it wants. So it's a 4 mana 2/2, yes, but hey look, this Humming Turkey is a 4 mana 4/5 with an ability that triggers whenever you attack with 2 or more creatures, and with flying. So yeah, Strutting Turkey seems pretty good. Then we got a reprint of Frankie Peanuts in the new Legendary frame. Reprint of Ordinary Pony. Reprint of MC. And reprint of Go to Jail. So yeah, that's the white deck. No, I'm not going to go through the lot of them, I don't think, but you get the idea. Some mostly reprint undecks, brought out as a box for... I'm not sure who they're aimed at, because the blue deck has Richard Garfield PhD in it, which means you have to know your Magic the Gathering cards inside and out to be able to play the blue deck effectively. But at the same time, they're half-size decks, clearly look like introduction decks, and the idea is that you just play them with a friend or two who may or may not actually know Magic the Gathering at all, let alone unset stuff. And a lot of the cards are reprints, so they're clearly not aimed at collectors unless the collectors didn't collect unstuff before. So I'm very unclear on who the target market of that box is. But I bought it, so I guess me? Right, so I showed you Tsunomon from the blue deck. Yeah, I mean, I bought it for the few unique cards that it has, to be honest. So our first rookie here is Gomamon, who has no abilities, is a 2-cost, 3k DP, level 3, Digivolves from level 2 at 0 cost, and is blue. So aside from being blue, let's check Biomon. Yeah, aside from being blue, is exactly the same as Biomon. Then we've got Gabumon, 4 copies of him, 3 cost, 2k DP, 0 Digivolve cost again. So essentially the same as Agumon, but different inherited skill. The inherited effect of Gabumon is when attacking, trashes the Digivolution card at the bottom of your opponent's Digimon with a level of 5 or less. So unless your opponent has kept their Digimon in the raising area, the breeding area, the whatever it is, the egg zone, as I like to call it, until it's hit level 6, or they've played level 6 straight down because you've given them too much memory or something. Outside of that situation, Gabumon can start chipping away at the Digivolutions underneath them. Doesn't stop them digivolving further, but it means that War Greymon will no longer have the 4 Digivolutions underneath it to get its 2 security damage bonus. And if you take away 1, it goes to security attack plus 1. If you take away 3 of them, he goes to security attack plus nothing, just his normal 1 security attack. So, thank you very much, Muse. Egg. Egg in the chat, everybody. So yeah, Gabumon's whole thing is, not only does he take away your your inherited skills. So, 1 second, where is it? Where did I put Koromon? I do not know where I put Koromon. It'll be in here somewhere, though. Oh, wait, no, obviously it's the egg ones. The one's a different card back. So yeah, if he takes away Koromon, then suddenly he's no longer got his plus 1k from that. Egg. We have no idea what the power creep is like in Digimon yet, because I think they've released 4 or 5 sets in Japan, and of those, 3 of those sets are being released at, well, the first 3 are being combined into the first set of the English language release, and then the second and third sets of the English language release, I think, are also various cards from those first 3 sets. But basically, no, this is an entirely new version of the Digimon card game. The old Digimon card game, I do have a couple decks for the old one. Where did I put them? Ah, there they are. So yeah, you see these nice UFS deck boxes? They do not contain UFS. One of them contains... Well, this isn't the original Digimon card game. This is the version that has some of the later Digimon that was brought out to go along with Season 3. So we've got as a Tamer card, we've got, well, as a Digidestin card, we've got Takaro and stuff. We've got Takaro, we've got Cody. We got, if I go through this somewhere, yeah, we got Vmon. That's what they did with the anime movie Soldabomb. And we got Guilmon. Guilmon is one of my favourites. But also, here's a thing to note. The old card game, the starter deck has 2 different copies of Guilmon. They're exactly the same effect-wise, but the art is different. They're posed different. I think it's the same CG model, but still. But yeah, hopefully combining sets works out a bit better in this card game than it does in than it did for the movies. I can't see why it would be as much of a problem here as it was with the movies, but who knows. Yeah, the other one, we got Henry, we got Matt, we got Agumon. But we've also got just a random platinum sword. And let's see who else we got. We got Black Gargomon, who I swear is non-canon. So yeah, that's what the old one looks like. You'll see this one looks completely different, and having played both, I think this is a far better game. And also far more representative of what Digimon is, because Digimon's based on a Tamagotchi variant. So the fact that the effects of your high-level Digimon are defined by how you raised it is a perfect fit for the series. And I really think they've done that well. Alternate Art Ash Blossom, jeez. That's gotta be valuable. Anyway, getting back to this Digimon card game. Next card we got is 4 copies of Bearmon, who is basically the same as... wait, let me double check, but I'm thinking it's Dracomon. Yeah, same as Dracomon. 3 cost, 4k DP. No effect. Just decent stats. Well, pretty solid stats for what he is. So yeah, just a colour shifted Dracomon there. And yeah, that's all 3 of our rookies. So moving on to the champions. We have our colour shifted version of... which one is it? It's not Greymon. It's Biomon, isn't it? No, Birdramon, sorry. Yeah, our colour shifted Birdramon now. Four cost, 2 Digivolution cost, 5k DP, no effect. A Kakumon. Kind of feel like they did a Kakumon dirty like that, because he's a major character and yet they're making him a vanilla. But then again, same goes for Birdramon. Birdramon could really have a mini version of Garudamon's effect or something, it'd be great, but it just doesn't. Then we've got only 2 of Garurumon, who is the 5 cost, 4k, 2 Digivolve cost, with an inherited skill. His inherited skill is when the Digimon that's Digivolved from him attacks, it trashes the Digivolution card at the bottom of your opponent's Digimon. So basically the exact same inherited skill as Gabumon, but that means it doubles up and gets rid of your opponent's inherited skills a lot quicker. Which one was it? Yeah, combined with Tsunomon's bonus DP when in combat with one with nothing underneath them, helps trigger that bonus a lot quicker, and basically just helps out the Blue Deck strategy. I didn't play Monster Rancher. I saw a bit of the Monster Rancher show, I think, but I never got to play any of it. How was it? I have too much hair at this point, but I can't get a haircut because, pandemic out and stuff. Then we got our colour shifted Cordramon, who is exactly the same thing, except, now it's named Grizzlymon. So 5 cost, 2 Digivolve cost, 6k DP, 2 memory cost to attack, and blocker, which is the standard thing of if you suspend it, you can redirect an attack's target to it. So yeah, 4 of those. Blocker is a really useful ability, so yeah, it's great to have 4 of those. But, I mean, not a great attacker still. Then we have our first embossed card, where Garurumon. Hey, let's see. Oh, okay. That's interesting. Random discs that gave you... That is weird. I will have to look into that. Because that sounds kind of cool. If a bit... sort of... A, hard to get as a collector's item, and B... I don't know, sort of vaguely gacha-ish, but in a physical sense. Physical DLC, if you will. Anyway, this one is a 7 cost, or 3 to digivolve. Level 5 digivolves from level 4. 7k DP, so yeah, this is your first ultimate, as I said, of the blue deck. When your opponent has a digivolve... Sorry, it's inherited skill, so not the skill for it, but the skill for the Digimon that digivolves from it. When the opponent has a Digimon with no Digivolution cards, this gets security attack +1. So, further punishing your opponent for either playing their stuff straight out or letting you remove the Digimon that it's digivolved from, letting you remove all its inherited skills. And I'll be back in just a second, sorry. Oh yes, I am still muted, sorry. Sorry, no, I'm just finding you... I'm just going off on thinking about your idea, because that sounds ridiculous. I've come across games where you get costumes for save data and stuff. Yeah, I hit the button. I hit the button. Honest, I hit the button. You should be able to hear me now. Yeah, you can hear me. Good. Okay. Well, if you can't hear me, there's something very wrong, because OBS can hear me. You can hear me, right? Okay, thank God. Right. But yeah, just came across... what was I? Yeah, I've come across that for costumes, but I've not come across that for actual gameplay elements. So, that would be wild and just bizarre. Anyway. Next ultimate we have is Zudomon, who, like, which one was it from the other deck? Yeah, like Garudamon, has a when you digivolve to it effect rather than an inherited effect. So, clearly meant to be the end of its evolution line, which is reasonable because Zudomon was for a long time the end of its evolution line in the show. When digivolving to this, you trash 2 Digivolution cards at the bottom of one of your opponent's Digimon. So it's like the effects of Garurumon and Gabumon, but it's far more instant. And this is a play cost of 6, it's a 7k DP. You probably won't be playing it straight up though, you'll probably be paying its Digivolve cost of 3, because that way you get its effect. Otherwise, it's just a vanilla. Dibs on what? The Zudomon? Wait, do I only have... Oh no, I have 2 of this, okay. Right, now we're getting to the Megas. So we have Plesiomon. So Plesiomon, 10 cost, 2 Digivolution cost, 12k DP, no effects, but some nice gold embossing, though again, like Ho-Omon / Phoenixmon, the art breaks the frame, so you lose some of that embossing. I feel like you lose a little less of the embossing with this one, but I could be wrong. I also feel like, unlike with Phoenixmon / Ho-Omon, you don't get the embossing on the... well, the art wouldn't lend itself to gold embossing on the art, in the same way that Ho-Omon / Phoenixmon would. So maybe that's why they didn't do it for Ho-Omon / Phoenixmon, they wanted them all to be equal. Then we have one of the most ridiculous ones I've come across. Metal Garurumon. So, fully foil, none of the gold embossing though. Play cost of 12, Digivolve cost of 4. This is your level 6, your Mega, like Plesiomon was. And again, there's only 2 of these in the deck. 11k DP, so 1k less than Wargreymon. But his ability is, when attacking once per turn, you get to unsuspend him. So you suspend him, you unsuspend him, you get to attack again. And that means if he has +1 security attack, well, as is, he essentially has +1 security attack because he can hit and then hit again to take away 2 of your opponent's security cards. If your opponent has no security, if your opponent has only 1 security card left, he can hit them, take away that security card, and then attack again for the kill, which you can't normally do even if you have just +1 security attack. So it's better than plus security attack there. And if it has the +1 security attack bonus from Garurumon, it's essentially 4 because it can attack twice. So it essentially doubles all the bonuses as well. Let me check Solder Pop. They're not going to be in these decks because these decks are specifically the main character starter decks, but it's quite possible. Renamon, though, I don't think is in it yet. So let's see what we got. Wait, let me double check who you asked about again, because I'm looking at a different tab now. Arg. Didn't plan for this. But then again, I never planned this out fully. Black Wargreymon. No, Black Wargreymon is from later on in the Adventure series. Unless you mean Black Wargreymon. Right, currently no English released cards have the word black in their name. And yeah, Renamon is from Tamers. There's no Renamon in English either yet. Oh. So, yes, Black War Greymon exists, but only in the Japanese so far. It's in set 2, so it's in one of the sets that's been released in English partially, but I guess it's not in the first release of the English, so it'll be in... I guess his part of set 2 will be in either English set 2 or English set 3. But yeah, Black War Greymon exists, and he seems to have an ability which starts with 10,000 DP as part of its effect. I don't know what that means, but it seems like he could do something very extreme. Let's see if Renamon's confirmed to exist. Okay, Renamon exists as a fake Pokemon card and as an old Digimon card. That's very helpful, Internet. And... no... So I'm seeing nothing to suggest that Renamon exists yet. But I'd be very surprised if Renamon didn't exist. No, Black War Greymon was not the antagonist's Digimon in Tamers. Ah. Wait, let me think. Okay, you know what? I'm going to look this up real quick. Just to confirm this for you. Derby. Debuted in the card game, that's not helpful. So, has a voice actor for Adventure 2, so definitely appeared in Adventure 2. And yeah, apparently had a quite significant role in Adventure 2 as one of the villain bosses. Oh wait, no, sorry, that's in... Oh, I see. I see. So the Digimon Adventure 2 game was titled Tag Tamer. Well, one of the Digimon Adventure 2 games was titled Tag Tamers, which might be where you're getting the Tamers name from. But Tamers typically refers to Season 3 of the anime, which Black War Greymon did not feature in. Oh hey, it was voiced by Steve Blum, cool. Anyway, there you go. Right. Thank you, Hole. It's been a while since I've seen Season 2. And I don't remember it quite as well as Season 1, and I don't honestly remember Season 1 that well either. Right, getting back to this. The character for the blue... Sorry, the Tamer card for the blue deck, which I don't think I fully explained. Tamers kind of work like enchantments. You play them, they stick around, they give you a permanent buff. This one is matte, and again, nice and embossed, nice embossing on the security effect symbol. Security effect is just play it for free. Cost of it is 2 again. And this one says, at the start of your turn, you get a bonus memory if your opponent has Digimon with no Digivolutions. So if it's not Digivolved from anything. Or if you've got rid of all the things that it's Digivolved from. So, you know, you have to be playing heavily into the blue strategy to get much use from him. Or your opponent has to be really letting you get use from him. But, I mean, in the blue deck, he's still pretty darn good. Because basically you get a free resource every turn. More if you have multiple copies of him. Just because you've got rid of your opponent's stuff. Or because your opponent's been a little hasty and played a thing without stuff. Without inheriting any skills. Then we've got the first blue action is Zudomon's attack Hammer Spark, which is notably the only 0 cost action I'm aware of. Sorry, this side, I'm tapping the wrong side. Or am I? Yeah, I was. Only 0 cost I know of. Its main effect is you gain a memory, so you gain a resource, you can play more stuff before your turn runs out, which is nice. And then its security effect is you gain 2 memory. But actually, because it's taking place during your opponent's turn, it's essentially your opponent loses 2 memory, and it brings it closer to your turn. So, sometimes it can just end the turn during your opponent's attack, which is real cool. That is a good card. I mean, it's not an incredible card, but it's a good card. Then we've got Sorrow Blue, which we've got 4 copies of. And this one is, choose one of your opponent's Digimon with no Digivolution cards. That Digimon can't attack or block until the end of your opponent's next turn. So once you've removed, well, A, if your opponent's been hasty and played it too quick, or if you've removed all of the stuff under it through your other effects, then you get to just stop one of your opponent's Digimon attacking. Or you stop a blocker, I suppose. But generally it will be a defensive move. Costs 2 to play, and as a security effect, it's choose one of your opponent's Digimon with no Digivolution, can't attack or block until the end of your next turn. Yeah, so basically the timing's slightly different on the security effect, but basically to achieve the same lasts a full round quality. Then we got 2 copies of Wegarumon's Kaiser Nail, which security effect is just play the card for free. The cost of the card normally is 4, and let's see, choose a Digimon Digivolution card, place it on one of your... Right, so take one of the Digivolutions from your Digimon and remove it from your Digimon and just put it into play as a new Digimon. For free. So, most of the time, that's going to be sort of a questionable move, but I mean, what have we got? Let's say you've got this setup, a Metal Garurumon on top of Zudomon. The Zudomon's giving you nothing. For 4 memory, you get to just straight up play the Zudomon again. And Zudomon would normally cost you 7. Or you'd have to Digivolve into him. So, there are definitely situations where Kaiser Nail could be very useful. Then for the final card, we've got 2 copies of the titular card of the deck, the Casista Spread. Sorry, Cocaistus Breath, which returns one of your opponent's Digimon to their hand, and then trashes every Digivolution card that had been under it, for the cost of 7. So it's slightly worse than Terra Force / Gaia Force, but what it does is it triggers all the effects that trigger when your opponent... It triggers effects that blue has, not so much in this deck, but in general, that trigger on when your opponent's Digivolution cards are discarded. And it still gets rid of the Digimon, so if you get rid of a Mega this way, they've still got to replay it at a significantly higher cost than the cost to Digivolve into it. And I mean, if you return War Greymon this way, suddenly all of War Greymon's Digivolution line is lost. Yes, Joel, it is going to be great if you get a free if you manage to get a free Mega off of off of the Kaiser Nail. But the problem with that is that Omnimon is not a very common card, and there are very, very few level 7s in this game. I think there are only 2, and I think only one of them is released in English. Well, officially none of them are released in English. Officially this game doesn't release till next year. But, you know, pre-order bonus! Yay! So yeah, that's the blue deck. The blue deck is very focused on a very specific goal. Oh, you have Millenniumon. Okay, so there are at least 2 in the English release so far. But 2 or 3 in the Japanese. I'm not totally sure off the top of my head. But still, there are not a lot of level 7s. And yeah, the blue deck has a very focused goal, does what it does well, but personally I think the red deck is better in general. But if you just play the red against the blue will have a good chance against the red because what the blue does specifically counters the red. And the booster pack from this one has some nice Malomyotismon art. Just thought I'd show you that before I move on. So, our first one are in training. The Egg Digimon. Sorry, yeah, that is Diaboromon. They look similar, okay? And they were both bosses in Digimon Rumble Arena 2. That is Diaboromon, you are correct. But yeah, the Egg Digimon for this one, so I'm just going to throw Egg down there, is Tokomon. Tokomon is same as every other level 2, apart from its inherited skill is your turn once per turn. When an opponent's Digimon is deleted by dropping to 0 DP, so if you use DP reduction to get your opponent's Digimon to 0, it just dies. When that happens, this Digimon, so the Digimon Digivolved from this, gets plus 1k DP. So you get a small bonus when you do what the yellow deck wants to do, but the yellow deck may not be able to do that quite as easily, do what it wants to do quite as easily as the blue deck can do what the blue deck wants to do. Then we've got Salamon, who is the rookie of Gatomon. I don't know if Salamon appears much in the show, because Gatomon tends to stay in champion form. But that is our recolor of Biomon and what's the other one? It's not Gabumon, it's the other one. Gomamon, right. So yeah, Salamon doesn't do anything, it's just a 2-cost, 0 to digivolve into, 3k DP. And the 3-cost 4k DP is Bakumon, who I would really like to see come back as, well, get reprinted at some point with a different effect. Because, sorry, I said Bakumon, its English name is Tapirmon. Because Baku is the Japanese for tapir, but it's also also a mythological creature that predates the tapir and just happens to have the same name because it looks similar. It's a dream-eating creature, often invited into the house to get rid of nightmares, but apparently if you rely on it too much, it starts eating your good dreams as well, and then you just lose all motivation in life. So it's sort of a cautionary tale, sort of a folk medicine-y thing. It's an interesting creature. And I really wish it had an ability to reflect its mythology. Or its mythology-related abilities in the show, for that matter. But it just doesn't. Then we have super cute Best Boy Patamon. A crap card at 1k DP. Less DP than the rookie of any other deck. But just, you know, he's cute and lovable. Play cost is 3, digivolve cost is 0 still. And your turn once per turn, when an opponent's Digimon is deleted by dropping to 0, you gain a memory. So again, triggers on the yellow deck doing what the yellow deck wants to do, but we'll see how well the yellow deck can actually do that. Interestingly, in this deck, the champion that we only have 2 of comes up first. Wait, is that only 2 rookies? No, that's 3 rookies, I'm being silly. So yeah, only 2 of this one. This is Angemon, not Angemon, as many of the people who were talking about this prior to release were saying. He's clearly angel-based. And yeah, he's a 5-cost, 4k DP. Yes, Angry Man. 2 digivolve cost. Inherited effect of when the Digimon digivolve from him attacks. If you have 4 or more security cards, so if you've only taken 1 damage or less, then you gain a memory. So you gain a resource, which is a relatively small reward. It's nice to have, but you gain that by staying at near full health. I feel like it's not a great effect, especially as you have to get to ultimate before you can use it. But it's not a terrible effect either, and in a deck that heals you, which this deck doesn't really, he's going to be fairly effective. Then we've got Gatomon, who does absolutely nothing, but is a 4-cost, 2 digivolve cost, 5k DP. So, very similar to... what were the ones in the other deck that did that? Yeah, basically the same as Birdramon and Ikakumon. Again, quite dull for a named character that you see in the show a lot. But, whatever. Then we got our 5-cost, 2 digivolve cost, that 6k blocker that we have 4 of is Unimon in this deck. Not going to go through what blocker does again. Has the same lose 2 memory when attacking effect. It's essentially just a recolored Grizzlymon / Cordramon. And then we have our 4 copies of Gold Embossed Magna Angemon. Or the Magnetized Angry Man, I guess. Again, the embossing looks quite nice. But 7 cost, 7k DP, 3 digivolve cost, similar stats to some of the others. When attacking, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 1k DP for the turn. Minus 1k, yeah, it might make the difference between you killing them and them killing you, but at the same time, very few things are going to die from just 1k. Digimon version of Kaiba that's introduced by playing soccer dirty. Is that Ken? That may well be Ken. I feel like that could be Ken, but again, it's been too long since I've seen Season 2. Last name Ichijoji, which is a very silly name, if you ask me. Right, then we got our other ultimate, which is Angelwomon. Angelwomon isn't embossed like Magna Angemon is. Tut tut tut. That's not gender equality. Although, as far as canonically, no Digimon has a gender anyway. So, shrug. Costs 6 to play, 3 to digivolve into, 7k DP. So this is actually cheaper than Magna Angemon, and this is the final. This is the end of line 1, essentially. When digivolving, if you have 3 security cards or less, so if you've taken 2 or more damage, essentially, you get recovery plus 1 deck, which means you get a security card back using the top card of your deck to do so. So she heals you and puts you back in range of triggering the effect of, where is it? There it is, Angemon. So that's kind of cool, the synergy there. I like how that works. I still think Magna Angemon's effect, especially as an inherited effect, so you're not going to get that minus 1k until you have a Mega, is kind of useless. At least in terms of achieving the goals of the deck. So his synergy kind of sucks, but at least hers is a lot better. Then we have 2 copies of Magnadramon, who does absolutely nothing, but is a 10 cost Mega, 2 Digivolve cost, 12k DP, so you know, big stats, nice shiny emboss, nothing else going on. Then we have probably the weakest Mega in all of these decks stat-wise, Seraphimon, who is the final form of Angemon slash Patamon slash Magna Angemon. But while he's only 10k DP, his play cost is 12, his Digivolve cost is 4, so you're paying for a lot more than his stats, and his effect is when he attacks, your opponent's Digimon get minus 4k for the turn. Sorry, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 4k for the turn. So if your opponent has a rookie in play, chances are you can just straight up kill that rookie, and then you'll trigger effects. Otherwise, you're just weakening them a bit, but this means that he can tie it on damage with a 14k, and there are very few 14ks. Still at 10k, if he attacks and your opponent's security card is a 12k or something, then you're going to lose him. So he's a bit more fragile, and it's definitely not worth playing him in non-yellow decks. But if you can Digivolve into him, he's pretty effective. He's probably probably the second strongest card in the yellow deck. The actual strongest, my favourite, being TK here. TK again, embossed, again, nice embossed security symbol. And I'm pointing to the wrong side again, because I can't see myself very well. Security effect is just playing for free. 2 cost again. But all of your security Digimon get plus 2k DP. So when you take damage and you flip over a card, if that card is a Digimon, that Digimon gets plus 2k. If it matches or exceeds the opposing Digimon, they're destroyed. And then, yeah, TK just gives all of yours plus 4k straight up. So all your opponent's Digimon have a lot harder time surviving attacking you, even if you do still take the damage. And you stack two of him, it's essentially a level difference. You stack 4 of him, they're going to have to attack you with a Mega to even have a chance of surviving. Not that you're likely to stack 4 of him without effects that let you search him, which there aren't any of in these decks, but still. Right, next up we get to our actions, and I'm just going to quickly check a thing about the red deck. Oh yeah, so all of the option cards have this blue outline. You can see it here. You can see it on the Conquistas Breath. And that's less obvious on the Conquistas Breath. And you can see it here, and it looks really jarring against the yellow, I think. Don't particularly care for the design of that. But the art of Heaven's Gate is still quite nice. The effect is one of your Digimon gets plus 3k DP for the turn. So, I know it's a 1 cost, so it's exactly the same as Shadow Wing in that sense, but the security effect is different. The security effect says all your Digimon and security Digimon get plus 5k DP for the turn. Then add this card to its owner's hand so they get to play the basic effect as well. So that's kind of nice. It doesn't give you the way to retaliate that Shadow Wing does. Well, I guess it does kind of in the 3k thing. But it's more of a good defensive effect. And it can be quite nice when you just randomly flip it over, but at the same time, if your opponent's not attacking you again that turn, it's basically wasted. It's not the best effect, but it's not terrible either. And we have 2 copies of Heaven's Charm, which is a 2 cost. Security effect is just add it to your hand. And the main effect is just one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 2k DP for the turn. So you might kill a weak rookie, otherwise it might make the difference in battle, but it's definitely not going to kill something, it's definitely not going to trigger any of the effects. And even alongside Seraphimon's minus 4k, it's still not going to do that much. It's really not a great card. The difference between 4k and 6k might just about take you up to a weak champion, but it's not even going to take out a good champion, let alone an ultimate. Then we've got Magnedramon's attack, Holy Flame. The main effect, which is 2 cost again, the main effect of it is one of your opponent's Digimon gains security attack minus 3. So, unless your opponent's Digimon is a fully evolved Wargreymon down the Greymon line, that's basically saying your opponent's Digimon has no security attack for the next turn. And then the security effect of this is all your opponent's Digimon gain security attack minus 1 for the rest of the turn. Which, again, useless if your opponent isn't attacking you again, but if they are, everything they have deals you 1 less damage, and most things will only deal you 1 damage by default, so that's pretty good. So yeah, Holy Flame, definitely a good attack, definitely a good card. A lot better than the other yellow actions. Except maybe 7 Heavens. Let's see what 7 Heavens, Seraphimon 7 Heavens does. We've got 2 copies of this. It's a 7 cost. One of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 10k DP for the turn. So that actually is quite likely to kill an opposing Digimon. Though you may have to combine it with Heaven's Charm or a Seraphimon himself to take down a Mega. And by the time you're playing 7 costs, you're probably looking at removing Megas, because generally, if you're giving your opponent 7 memory, you want to be getting something big in return for it. But its security effect is just activate the main effect, and therefore probably kill one of your opponent's Digimon. as well. So yeah, the yellow deck, I think it's going to have a lot more problems triggering its main strategy of destroying Digimon via reducing their DP than the blue is its main strategy. Basically because the blue's main strategy is something that occurs normally. The yellow's main strategy is something that it actively has to work at, and even then is not what it would normally do. Because, you know, the standard thing to do would be reduce your opponent's Digimon, make your opponent's Digimon weak, and then attack it with your Digimon to kill it. So basically just turn the tides of the battle in your favour using these effects. Outright killing your opponent's Digimon with these effects is not a common occurrence. So yellow is definitely the weakest of these decks. Red's strategy is build up a full Digivolution line and then attack. Red is a very aggressive deck, and I think it's the most powerful of these decks, but at the same time, what blue wants to do directly counters what red wants to do. Blue takes away all of red's bonuses and stops it being so aggressive. So I think blue actually has the best matchup there. And then we've got a few other random cards that came with this. We've got, these appear to be memory counters. So if you put two of them together, you have this. Goes from 10 down there, up and around to here. You can pop out give me a second. A little token. So that's really nice and convenient if you don't have one of the card mats that go with the game. And just, yeah, lets you keep track of your memory properly. And then it tells you how to build your deck and set up for playing the game. Though it then also gives you a link to the app, so you might as well do that to learn it, honestly. And yeah, we've got a whole bunch of those. You'll see there are also these paler ones, which... Let me find a blue one to go with. There we go. And they on the back, they give you an explanation of the different game zones. Season 2 Arukenimon will... Okay. Yeah, that sounds reasonable. There's an explanation for stuff. And then we got this one, tells us about Digivolution, option cards and tamer cards on that side, and playing and attacking Digimon on that side. So basically it's just how all the card types and attacks work. So normally I would expect a rules list to do this instead, but these perforated life tracker cards memory tracker cards are kind of cool, and I don't know if you can see it there, but the token on this one has the TK's symbol of hope. TK's symbol of hope, which is pretty sweet. And then the red one has Ty's courage and so on and so forth, presumably. Blue will have Matt's friendship, that's it. So yeah, normally I would expect all this kind of stuff to be on... Oh, and then we've got victory conditions and phases of the game. Oh, and what the different parts of the card are. Again. So yeah. Normally I would expect this to be in a rule book, but the memory tracker is pretty sweet. The fact that you can pop out a token for it, again, that's a really nice inclusion in the starter decks. Now, each of these starter decks comes with a booster pack. So, let us see what's in these booster packs. Any preferences to which I open first? We've got one with Digimon whose name I've... Diaboromon, yeah, okay. One with Diaboromon on the front. One with Omnimon on the front. And one with Devimon, Piedmon, and another Digimon that I forget the name of, but is clearly a mechanical dragon cannon Digimon on the front. Probably just Cannondramon, to be honest. You want Diaboromon first, okay. Come on, you can do this. Gah. Teach me to keep my fingernails short. Okay, so we've got the memory tracker in this as well. It's probably Machinedramon, yeah. You want a closer look so you see if you can identify? There we go. That's as close as I can get it. Hopefully you can see that. Yeah, there we are. Oh, oh. Is that Machinedramon, do you think? I don't know how well you can make that out, to be honest, but anyway. Yeah, we have another memory tracker here, but unperforated, so there's none of the pop-out marker counter, which seems kind of tacky. And then, let's see, we've got a list of all the cards in the set, including the secret rares, which is curious. And Beelzemon is a secret rare in this. That is interesting, because Beelzemon's in the same set as Black War Greymon. And they were both revealed at the same time. But anyway, we're going to go through this from front to back, why not? We have Nuclear Laser. Sorry, Nuclear Laser. Which is that Metal Tyrannomon? I'm not totally sure, I forget the... But anyway, you use this, it triggers draw 2. So just you draw 2 cards at a cost of 3. And then one of your Digimon gets plus 2k DP for the turn. So, card advantage isn't a big deal, but the fact that it gets you 2 cards more out of your deck and into your hand is still nice, because it means you get to see more cards, which means you're more likely to have the Digivolution lines you need. And then it gives one of your Digimon 2k DP for the turn, which is just, it's kind of pleasant, it's nothing special. Its security effect, however, is non-existent, so if your opponent flips this up when dealing you damage, nothing happens and it's just a big waste. And that seems like a massive negative to me. Okay, thanks for letting us know. Thanks for that, Joel. Then we've got our first black card, Hagurumon, who I think was ripped off by Pokemon in the Pokemon Kling Clang. But this is a 2-cost, 0 to Digivolve into 3k DP, so wait, is that the same as one of the ones we've got already? Yeah, it's just Gomamon and Biomon and friends, but in black. Shame about that, but I mean, I like him as a character. Oh! Then we got a Digitammer in the booster packs. One of the egg deck cards. This is Kapurimon, who is the in training form of what they call Andromon and Gardromon, not in that order, who have recently played a very major role in one episode of the show, and it was one of the best episodes. I agree, Solve the Pop. That would be a big ripping off Digimon moment. Anyway, this one's inherited effect, which is presumably relatively indicative of what Black wants to do, though I haven't read up on Black much because none of the starter decks were Black. While this one has Reboot, it gets plus 1 KDP. I don't know what Reboot does, so it's not explained on the card. But if this Digimon has Reboot, well, the one that's Digivolved from Kapurimon, then it gets plus 1 KDP. So it's a small effect with a condition. It's a small buff with a condition. Oh, and it's only during your turn as well. So it's not that great, but none of the training ones have that great effect. Then we've got a level 4 Vilemon. Oh, okay. Reboot means you can unsuspend during your opponent's turn. Fair enough. That definitely sounds like a thing that mechanical Digimon would have. So yeah, Vilemon is a 5 play cost, 2 Digivolve cost, 6k DP champion. It has blocker, and it has when attacking lose 2 memory, so basically it's your Grizzlymon again, your Cordramon. Wait a minute. Oh, okay, yeah. Well, my guess would be that happened during the movie, wherein she infected every computer on the internet. And one of those just happened to be Yggdrasil. And if you don't know who Yggdrasil is, then you clearly haven't watched the movie that comes between Season 4 and 5, or Season 5. Yeah, I know you were. I'm just trying to connect the dots and make it make sense, you know? Because in one of the reboot movies, it does end with, or at least close to it does end with Hexadecimal infecting every computer in the world. So it would make sense that it was possible for that to happen. Oh, I got V-Nova Blast. So this is Vidramon's Nova Blast. And that is a 2-cost option card with, for its main effect, one of your Digimon gains jamming, which is, no matter how strong the security Digimon is, so when your opponent flips it over and it's a Digimon, no matter how strong that Digimon is, it can't destroy your Digimon. So you can't be destroyed in a security attack unless there's an effect, specifically, which says so. And the security effect of this is just add it to your hand for a better attack in your next turn. So yeah, V-Nova Blast can be very nice to give added security to, to stop Wargreymon potentially dying from an attack, or to stop your Metal Garurumon dying from an attack. But both of those are big enough that unless your opponent has some effect, like, say, good old TK, they're not actually going to be that fragile anyway. So I don't know what you're going to want to protect with V-Nova Blast, but it's going to be good at protecting something. Whereas Gorillamon is just a vanilla champion. 6 cost, 1 Digivolve cost. 1 Digivolve cost is actually really cheap. Do any of the champions in the starter decks have only 1 Digivolve cost? No. So, see. What are Akakumon's stats? Okay. Well, I guess he's just Grizzlymon without the effect, but one of Grizzlymon's effects is a negative, so... I don't know. No, he's a 6 cost, 6k DP, 1 Digivolve cost. Doesn't do anything special, but if you want to Digivolve really quickly, he's going to help you do that. And, you know, it's a really cheap champion, which is going to be good because champion is the first stage where you actually have to pay for the Digivolution. He's a good card. Then we have Goblymon. Who is a 2 cost, 0 Digivolve cost, 3 DP, a 3k DP, vanilla, rookie. So, yeah, rookie. So basically the same as your, not Gabumon, what's the other one? Gomamon and Biomon and the like, but for green. And then we have Gotsumon, who is a 3 cost, 0 Digivolve cost, 3 DP rookie, which we've not seen one of before. Oh, that's cool. So you got a rookie blocker? Sweet. Oh, and Gotsumon has blocker, in fact. And the when attacking lose 2 memory. So Gotsumon is... yeah. Gotsumon is a blocker that you can Digivolve into for free. That is sweet. If I had any black... wait, no, I do have a black rookie now. I have Kapurimon. So, yeah, he's cool. What level is Gotsumon? Level 3, he's a rookie. See? Level 3 rookie. Oh, and he's an uncommon, I should have mentioned. He's the first of our uncommons, Gotsumon is. Then our second uncommon is another rookie, Labramon. 3 cost, 0 Digivolve cost, 1k DP, so very weak. What's its effect? Its inherited effect is your turn. When an opponent's Digimon is deleted by dropping to 0 DP, trigger draw 1, so you draw a card. So yeah, again, a not that common to trigger effect, but, well, and also not that big of a payoff, because draw 1 card isn't that big of a deal in this game. It's nice to be able to get through your deck and see more cards, but the card advantage of it is borderline worthless, to be honest, just because you have so many cards in hand all the time, because you draw a free card every time you Digivolve. So Labramon looks crap to me. Oh, but I have a alternative Garurumon. This guy's interesting. Six play cost, 2 Digivolve cost, though if you Digivolve into him he does nothing, because his effect is only on play. 5k DP. Draw power is good in any game, but the difference here is that your draw power comes from Digivolving as much as possible, because every card you Digivolve with draws you a free card. So basically, any time you don't straight up play a card down, you're getting it's a cantrip. And when nearly every card is a cantrip, other draw power isn't nearly as necessary. It's still good, but it's not anywhere near as good. Anyway, where was I? Yeah, the on-play effect of this is unsuspend one of your Digimon. So you attack, you play this guy, and then you attack again. But he does cost 6 to play, so you have to have access to a lot of memory to be able to do that without ending your turn. So I have no idea how good he's going to be in practice. But, I mean, he's cool. And at the worst, his ability works defensively, because your opponent can't attack your Digimon if it's unsuspended. They can only attack it if it's in suspended position. So, that defensive element is a thing to be aware of. Then we've got... Oh, interesting. Interesting. I've not seen anything that triggers on activating / unsuspending a Digimon. But that makes sense to me. If we've seen both Garurumon and Metal Garurumon do ready effects, unsuspend effects, it makes sense that there would be things to interact with that. So our first rare is actually a Digitama, an egg. Okay, the Vmon line. Cool. And it's Cupimon. And yeah, as you can see, it's embossed again. And let me just take a quick look at the other embossed cards. Before I comment. Oh, come on, there's got to be an embossed normal thing in here. Right? Yeah, okay, the framing is the same as where Garurumon. It's nothing different. Anyway, this one has, when attacking, well, it's inherited effects on Digimon that digivolve from it. When attacking, if you have 5 or more security cards, so if you're at full health, essentially, or if you've managed to heal above it, you trigger draw 1. So it's kind of a niche effect, but I feel like it could be great for an aggro yellow deck that wants to just straight up digivolve to Rookie and immediately start attacking with it. Or maybe attack with Champion on turn 2, I don't know. That way, yeah, it's going to be starting to give you card advantage, see more of your Digivolution lines really early on. It's going to get you the cards you need quicker. But in a long defensive game, if your opponent pings you at all, you're going to lose that ability, unless you have lots of healing. So, it's going to work well with aggro, it's going to work well with healing decks, it's not going to work well with anything in between, basically. And then our other rare is an option card. A black option card which looks like this. It's listed as Infinity Cannon. I'm wondering if that's Mugen Cannon or not in Japanese. Because the Japanese name for the black deck that will be released relatively soon in Japan, I think, is Mugen Black, which translates to infinite or infinity or similar black. Oh hey, I've got 5 viewers. Who's new? Anyway. So this one, its security effect is just activate its main effect. It costs 6 normally for the main effect, though obviously if you get it as security effect it's free. Triggers D-Digivolve 4 on one of your opponent's Digimon. Oh jeez, trash up to 4 cards from the top of your opponent's Digimon. And then you can't Digivolve it below level 3 this way, and you can't trash the bottom card this way. But basically, Yeah, if your opponent's Digivolved all the way to... If your opponent's Digivolved all the way to Wargreymon, you take them straight back down to Agumon or similar. So you get rid of the Wargreymon, you get rid of the Metal Greymon, you get rid of the Greymon. Even if they're an Omnimon, it takes them straight down to Agumon. That is going to be a lot more powerful once level 7s become more popular, I think. But it's still very powerful as is. Because it puts your opponent right back down to the start of their Digivolution lines. That is wild. It does cost 6 though. And it doesn't fully remove their Digimon, so I can see why it costs less than... Cocytus Breath and Gaia Force. Gaia Force? Yeah, Gaia Force, there we are. Found it. Just like to show the cards when I mention them, you know? Right, so the multiple villains from Season 1 and possibly 2 deck, or the Omnimon, pack, or the Omnimon pack. Which would you prefer me to open next? Any preference? No, no preference? Okay then, I'll open the other dark one then. And we'll save Omnimon for last. Would be real cool if I actually got Omnimon in one of these. So, first up we have Golden Ripper, which has no security effect. It's a yellow. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Sol. Good luck claiming that back. So the cost of this one is 3. It has no security effect, so it better have a big main effect. Main effect is all of your Digimon gain the following effect for the turn, and then the actual effect is stated. When attacking, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 2 KP for the turn. Okay. So if you spam a lot of small Digimon and then just attack with all of them, I guess you can start murdering your opponent's stuff. Otherwise, I feel like that's not that great, and the lack of a security effect is going to make it a big liability. Ooh, I like the look of this one. We have our first Mega from these, I think. Volcanic Dramon. Still only a common, so no embossing or foil, but 11 memory cost, which again, more than the maximum, so you have to be at least 1 DP before you can do it, but I guess you're always going to be. So you have to be at least 1 memory to be able to play it. You can't just play it if the memory is at 0 on turn 1. But Digivolve cost of 3, which isn't too bad. 10k DP, so a weak Mega, but still definitely within the Mega range. Security attack plus 1, so damages your opponent for double essentially every time it damages them. And on play, delete all of your opponent's Digimon with 4k or less. So if your opponent's just spamming small Digimon, you can just straight up play this and kill them all, potentially. Or, if you're combining it with yellow to reduce your opponent's Digimon's values, you can do that, I guess. Finish them off with that. That's a cool way of doing it. Take out the list of what cards are in what cards are in the sets. We don't need that right now. Right, we have a Champion Ogremon. 4 cost, 4k DP. What's the Digivolution cost? It's 2. And it has jamming, which means, again, it's completely immune to damage from security Digimon. It can't be destroyed when attacking the opponent directly, unless an effect destroys it. So, that's cool, and that directly counters TK and other various yellow defensive effects. And in fact, some of the red defensive effects as well. Ooh, and then we have our first violet card. Garurumon. So, you'll notice this has the same name as another card, but it doesn't have the same card number, so you can run 4 of both in your deck if you want. You can run both 4 blue Garurumons and 4 violet Garurumons. I think that's our first violet card anyway. Play cost of 7, Digivolve cost of 3, 7k DP. When attacking once per turn, you can delete one of your other Digimon to unsuspend this Digimon. Oh, as an inherited effect, so only the Mega gains that, but still. That is quite wild. Plus, if you found some way to Digivolve that into Metal Garurumon, the blue Metal Garurumon, then you could use both those effects, so you could essentially attack 3 times. However, this Digivolves specifically from a violet, so that's not realistically going to happen. Then I'm going to skip the next card real quick and go to the one after it, because the fifth card in this pack is Violet Garurumon. So what does Violet Garurumon do? 5 cost, 2 Digivolve cost, 4k DP. Your turn once per turn, when one of your other Digimon is deleted, gain 1 memory, including when you delete it for the effect of Garurumon. So I can see the synergy there already. That's cool. Matt's violet line works just as well together as his blue line by the sounds of it. But yeah, the card I went over a second ago is Atomic Ray. This is a black option card, cost of 3, unsuspend one of your Digimon with blocker. So basically you can attack with a blocker, and then you can play this to unsuspend it so that it's ready to actually block on your next turn, or you can attack with it again. But most blockers seem to have a memory cost for blocking. Okay, cool. Thanks for stopping by though, Sol. Been good seeing you. Hope you've enjoyed this. You seem to have seem to have been quite involved, which is nice. Anyway, where was I? And yeah, I'll catch you again sometime. Probably in one of your unboxings. So the security effect of this is unsuspend all your Digimon with blocker, and they get plus 5k DP for the turn. So if you play a lot of blockers, this is ridiculous as a security effect, and I mean, it's not bad as a standard effect, but it's not nearly as good as the security effect is. That security effect is crazy if you play almost exclusively blockers. Otherwise, it's just a fairly standard thing, I guess. Then we have a black champion, which is only 3k DP, so it's... I mean, there are some rookies that are stronger than this champion. It's crap in that regard. But it's only got a 1 Digivolve cost, and its play cost is 3. So you can Digivolve really easily with that. If you just want to get to your Mega cheaply, that's going to be good for that. And it's going to cantrip, so it's a cheap card draw as well, essentially. Ooh! And our first uncommon of the pack is Metal Greymon. A different Metal Greymon to the Metal Greymon I already have from the starter deck. This one is a 6 cost, 7k DP, 3 cost to Digivolve, and again it's a level 5, it's an ultimate, it is what Metal Greymon is. When attacking, gain 3 memory, at end of turn lose 3 memory. So guarantees that when your opponent's turn starts they have at least 4 memory. But he gives you a lot to work with during your turn. Very interesting card that. I'll have to consider whether or not that works in my deck. I may have to do some testing of these later if you're up for it, Joel. Or anyone else for that matter, but I've played with you in the past, Joel, so I'm mentioning you. Then we have a very basic 2 cost, 0 Digivolve cost, 3 DP blank rookie. Ooh, that sounds cool. Yeah. Alternatively, I feel like Muse would like that, because Muse likes spamming small creatures. But yeah, Digimon, Violet card, basically a reskin of one of the other Digimon. Let me see if I can find one that matches it. Yeah, it's basically Biomon, and therefore also basically Goemon. It's not anything special, that one. But at least it is a rookie for Violet, so Violet is playable. Oh, and we have another in training. I think this was Muse's favourite in training, in fact. This is Wanyamon. I don't remember what Digivolution line Wanyamon is part of, but by the looks of it, it digivolves from Botamon, that black one in the art, so it digivolves from the same thing as Koromon, which is very interesting. So your and my favourite in trainings both in fact digivolve from the same thing. However, Botamon is completely irrelevant to this game, because this game starts at level 2, unless they bring in some weird new rule in the future. Anyway, the effect of this one is, during your turn, it's an inherited effect, so only on things that's digivolved from it. While the opponent has 2 or more Digimon with no Digivolution cards in play, this Digimon gets plus 2 KDP. So basically, it's Tsunomon, but double the requirement and double the effect. So if you're very good at doing what blue wants to do, or your opponent is just very willing to let you do things, it's pretty darn good. But otherwise, it's a fairly high restriction. And then we have our first rare is Metal Seedramon, a Mega, and a nicely embossed Mega at that. Now you'll see this one has an on-play effect and a your turn effect. So it's an 11 cost, 3 Digivolve cost, blue, 10k DP, so relatively weak for a Mega. On play, return up to 2 of your opponent's level 4 or lower Digimon to their hand, and then trash all of their Digivolution cards. So basically, you make your opponent take their champions back, and they lose their rookies and potentially in trainings from under them. It's reasonable. Also potentially means getting rid of their blockers, which is quite nice. Though, at an 11 memory cost, it is guaranteed to end your turn, because you cannot have more than 10 memory. And that's an on-play effect, so you can't digivolve into it for that. But also, during your turn, this Digimon can't be blocked by your opponent's Digimon with no Digivolution cards. So they can't just play blockers down and block this. They have to digivolve into blockers, and even then, if you remove the Digivolutions from the blockers, if you remove their inherited effects, then they lose the ability to block Metal Seedramon. So Metal Seedramon, not so much a good Digimon itself. So not such a good Mega as just in terms of damage, in terms of stats, but more of a good Mega in terms of being able to force its attacks through. So if you want a Mega that's guaranteed to hit, Metal Seedramon looks pretty good. Then we have Tai, a embossed Tai, and he's got an embossed outline to his character, which looks darn cool. Gives his hair a real golden shine. I'm very fond of that. Now, if they'd done that to the Megas, one second. Can you imagine how good that would have looked? on Hoomon here, outlining every bit of that. That would have been incredible. But anyway, this tie is a 4 play cost red tamer, so double the cost of his starter deck counterpart. At the start of your turn, though, if you have 2 or less memory, he automatically sets your memory to 3. So your opponent can't pass to you and your opponent can't give you less than 3 memory to start your turn with. You're guaranteed a decent amount of memory to work with. And then during your turn, all of your red... Well, that might mean that he makes up for his cost quite quickly as well. Anyway. Sorry. Well, a little bit tired, that's why I'm doing that. But anyway. Yeah, sorry. Your turn, all of your red Digimon with 4 or more Digivolution cards gain security attack +1. So basically, the same +1 damage when attacking your opponent directly that you get from from Greymon, with the same condition that you get from Koromon, that you have to be in your Mega form with a full Digivolution line for the effect. But yeah, buffs your Megas by 1 security attack. If you have this and the full proper War Greymon line, your War Greymon just straight up attacks for all of your opponent's memory. Not memory, security. So, potentially useful. I'm not wowed by it in anything but appearance, but it's probably going to be good. Moving on to the final pack, the Omnimon pack. Let's hope there's an Omnimon in this, because I would really like an Omnimon. Get rid of the card list again, because we don't need that. And I've just seen the card back on our rare, it's a Digitamer. Which means... egg. Anyway. So... First one is Atomic Ray again. You've already seen that, so I'm not going to go over what that does again. Good for blockers, if I remember rightly. Not much else. Then we got Elecmon, who is just, I guess... Well... Is he just Gabumon? Is Elecmon just Gabumon? No, he's not Gabumon, sorry, he's Gomamon. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. They are identical in everything but name. That is garbage. That I do not approve of. Because, in case any of you don't know, Elecmon is a quite significant character in the show. Yeah, there might be a if the name of this Digimon contains X effect. But yeah, Elecmon has his own episode. He gives Patamon his character development. And he is, in Season 1, the caretaker of all the Digi-Eggs, the Digitamer egg. So he should really do something with the eggs. He should really have an effect that cares about those, rather than just being... Oh yeah. Rather than just being blank. That's crap. Then we got Ogremon again. Again, still a nice jamming card. Not going to go through what that does again, though. Ooh, and our first reboot creature, Toyogumon, who was always a favourite of mine, because he's kind of silly, really. So Toyogumon costs 3, Digivolve of 0, fairly standard for a rookie, 1k DP, so he's very weak. But he has reboot, he unsuspends when your opponent unsuspends their cards, as well as when you do. So your opponent's going to have a hard time attacking him. because he will always be ready during their turn. Always be unsuspended during their turn. Then we have Heart's Attack, which is a 3-cost option. Blue. Interesting, because I never pictured Monzemon as blue, but whatever. Trash all Digivolution cards under one of your opponent's Digimon. So remove all their inherited skills. Rather than healing them up to their maximum, rather than healing them up to their best and refreshing them nicely, takes away their ability to attack. I guess it's kind of in character, but it's not what I would have expected of the attack, given what it does in the show. Then we have Violet Wear Garurumon again. I'm not going to go over him again. But then we have Gomamon, and it's a different Gomamon. This is a 3-cost, 3k DP, 0 Digivolution, and its inherited skill is, on deletion you gain a memory. So if your opponent deletes Gomamon, nothing happens. If your opponent deletes a Digimon Digivolve from Gomamon, so your Ultimate or your Mega, you get a memory back, which, since they'll be deleting it during your turn most likely, means they lose a memory, means it's going to bring it closer to the end of their turn, possibly even end their turn if they're on 0 memory at the time. And then we have Metal Etamon, the Mega. Black Mega, level 12 cost, 3 Digivolution. God, I wish my face wasn't so itchy from all my hair. Why is it doing this to me today? Anyway, 10k DP, so maybe 10k DP isn't weak. Maybe 10k DP is standard for a Mega. But I thought the 11 and 12 was a bit more standard, personally. But during your turn, this cannot be blocked by your opponent's Digimon. No condition, they just can't block it during your turn. Weird that they can block it during your opponent's turn, then. Because when are you going to be attacking during their turn? That's strange that it specifies during your turn. But whatever. Opponent's turn, it gets plus 2k DP. So half the time it's going to be a 12k anyway. So maybe 12 is standard. But yeah, he's just straight up unblockable. That's pretty powerful. And he was the first uncommon of this pack. The second uncommon is Green Tentomon. 3 cost, 2k DP, 0 Digivolution cost, because he's a rookie again, and has the inherited effect, so not for him, but when anything Digivolve from him attacks, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon with 3k DP or less. Okay, so if your opponent has a weak or medium strength rookie out, you can just straight up kill it, because you can force it to be suspended so that it's attackable. Under other conditions, however, it's basically useless, because it targets such a small range of things. Then we have Gardramon's attack, looking back on the good times, because that is totally an attack name. I mean, it's an option card, so it doesn't necessarily have to be an attack, but every option card we've seen so far has been an attack, so interestingly different title to this one. During the main phase, the costs 4, goes straight to your hand as a security effect, so you can use it during your next turn. During your main phase, de-Digivolve one of your opponent's Digimon. So get rid of their top Digivolution, put them back to the Digivolution before. You can't de-Digivolve it past level 3, so it can become a rookie at lowest. And if its play cost is 4 or less, you discard it. Wait, what? Huh. So if you de-Digivolve to a cheap champion or to a rookie, then that Digimon just straight up dies. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty good. I had a thing I was going to say about that, but I can't think what it was. Oh yeah, that was the thing I was going to say. Going back to the yellow deck for a second. Wherever I put the yellow deck. Where did I put the yellow deck? It's not that pile, not that pile. Oh, that's going to bother me now. Oh, here I put the yellow deck, right. Going back to the yellow deck, it would be really good, thematically and in terms of gameplay, if Gatomon just had an ability that says, cannot be de-digivolved. Because that would match the way that Gatomon is essentially the rookie stage as far mechanically in the show, and it would just give her something to do mechanically rather than just leaving her be vanilla. Oh. Then for the next one, we've got Embossed Matte, which is one of Joel's favourite cards. Yeah, if first digivolved into Angelwoman, it could be de-digivolved, but it then wouldn't de-digivolve back past Gatomon, theoretically. So yeah, this one is 4 cost, but has the same thing as Embossed Tie, where at the start of your turn, if you have 2 or less memory, it becomes 3. So pays for himself over the course of a long game, potentially. And then during your turn, whenever you play a blue Digimon, you can suspend this. And if you do, you trash the bottom Digivolution card of one of your opponent's Digimon. So he's just a really nice, accessible way to, to do what blue wants to do and remove inherited effects. Then the final one of this pack is Cupimon again. The little rushdown in training type that draws you cards when you attack if you have full health. So that's all of the standard boosters. Now we have the promo booster. Promo booster contains 6 cards, and there are 6 different cards in the set. Will I get 6 different cards, or will it be a mix? We shall see. Will I have multiples of any of them? Oh! Foil Agumon! It's an Agumon that does something different. On play, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 3k DP or less. Play cost 5. That's a hell of a play cost for a rookie. Especially a 300 DP rookie. But I guess he destroys your opponent's rookie, so that's why. And Digivolve cost of 0 like every other rookie, so if you're using him normally, he's not going to be costing you any extra. Though he is going to be costing you the inherited effect that regular Agumon has, if you use him over regular Agumon. What does regular Agumon's inherited effect do again? Right, so he'll cost your future Digivolution 1k DP on your turn, which is not the biggest of deals, to be honest. I reckon it's worth playing that Agumon over regular Agumon, and so I'll probably do so in my tournament deck later on. Yeah, definitely the better Agumon. Then we have Foil Biomon, who again, new effect. Because Biomon didn't even have an effect before. 3 cost rather than 2 cost, 2k DP rather than 3k DP. Digivolve cost still 0. And when this Digimon deletes one of your opponent's Digimon in battle, as an inherited effect, so not this Digimon but the one that's Digivolved from it, and survives, trigger draw 1. So basically you just get to draw a card whenever you kill your opponent's Digimon with 1 Digivolve from this. That actually seems pretty good. Because again, it's more card draw, and the Digimon Digivolve from that is probably going to be better than that Digimon is. Then we have Gabumon with an on-play effect. Gabumon just straight up trashes the bottom Digivolution of one of your opponent's Digimon on play. Play cost is 4 though, so quite high for a rookie. So you are paying for what you're doing. You're paying for that effect. 3k DP, 0 Digivolution cost. So otherwise not too special, but nice that we have that alternative effect. Gomamon that has an effect. And he does look pretty darn good too. This Gomamon's effect: when you trash a Digivolution card of one of your opponent's Digimon, gain 1 memory. 3k DP, sorry, 1 DP, 3 cost to play, 0 Digivolution. Let's compare him to the booster pack version of Gomamon from the regular booster packs. Alright, he gains memory on deletion instead, and has rather more DP, so actually I think this Gomamon is the one that Joel prefers, but I think you run both of them in your testing deck online. Do correct me if I'm wrong on that. And yeah, he's weak, he's pretty bad if he comes up as a security Digimon, but his effect is good. It gets you a free memory every turn as long as you do what Blue wants to do anyway. Then we have a Patamon with an on-play effect. Again, all these on-play rookies are weird because you don't want to on-play rookies. You want to Digivolve into rookies. Because Digivolving nets you a free card. Play cost of 4, 2k DP. If you have 1 or fewer security cards, whoa. Okay, so if you're playing him in the end game, so he's very much something you're going to Digivolve into early on and then play later on, I guess. Trigger recovery 1 deck. So put top card of your deck back into your security. Okay, so that is darn good healing in the late game, and otherwise you're going to Digivolve into him. So if you're playing yellow, that is a great card. But at the same time, you have to be playing yellow for that. And playing yellow is a disadvantage, it seems, already. At least in the start decks. And then finally we have the Gatomon. Play cost 4, Digivolve cost 2 because it's a champion, unlike all of the others. 4k DP, so within the range of a strong rookie. While you have inherited effect, while you have 3 or more security cards, this Digimon gets plus 1k DP. That's kind of crap. Anyway, that is everything from my various decks and packs. I hope you've enjoyed this unboxing. Now let's play some Temtem, shall we?